Wednesday. So I will call it to order at 11:42 a.m. This November 2024 meeting of the Maryland Lynching Truth and Reconciliation Commission. I will quickly go through those commissioners who are in attendance, starting with myself, Commissioner Milling, good morning. Commissioner Chavis, good morning. Vice Chair Chavis, good morning. Commissioner Haley, good morning. Commissioner Armenti, good morning. Commissioner Barnes, good morning. Commissioner Coles, good morning. Commissioner Parker, good morning. Commissioner Seward, good morning. Commissioner Dupree Wilson, good morning. And to our staff, Kristen, Sophie, Trish, much appreciation as always. Thank you for being here. So going through our agenda, we have the approval of last month's minutes. I don't think that has been passed around, so I believe we'll table that for the time being. Moving on to chair's comments and a soul check. I think it goes without saying. Y'all probably know what's in my head. I'm pretty sure I know what's in y'all head. Tomorrow is very, very consequential. In order to make sure I don't get in trouble, I'm gonna just say, vote. I can say that. Vote and vote for the sake of humanity. I think if you do that, we'll be all right. Any other commissioners, and I know some of us are not here today because of that very reason. That's to me the ultimate excuse. I'll always give space for that. If there are any commissioners that want to share anything that's on their minds, on their hearts really quickly, please feel free. Yep. Somebody trying to speak?
Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah. We can hear you.
Oh, someone else. Okay. No, I'm just saying. All I wanted to say is I just wonder how many people have already voted, since that's a new thing that so many of us can do, and I feel like it's so beneficial. I've already voted. Just wondering. Cool. Yeah, I think that's very good to see. Just that we're taking advantage of it as soon as we can take advantage of that privilege that we have to do things as soon as possible. So we don't have to worry. We don't have to feel stressed out by the lines or harassed as we stand in line. I think it's good to take advantage of that, and I think that's a positive way to address the whole situation or tension that we're in right now, is to get it done as soon as possible. Don't put it off and don't wonder. Know you've done your part, and try to rest easy for it as well as you can until the next day. Just know that you've done your part, and you don't have to worry about not doing your part. Because just as the chair said, don't really want to say too much because it's open forum and it's voting for all. We know what our mission is, what our purpose is, what our hope is. So that's the thought.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioner Haley. I appreciate that. I know we got to all be mindful with our words. So thank you. Thank you for your flexibility and your finesse. Yes, Commissioner Coles, I see you.
Hi. Echoing the message of the importance to vote. And I can't get a image out of my head of, have you guys seen the movie The Wiz? At the end, when the oppression is lifted and the singers rejoice, and can you feel a brand new day? And that's what's on my spirit right now, without indicating my preference. I can feel a brand new day.
All right, I dig that. Sorry, any spoilers on The Wiz if anybody hasn't seen it at this point. Sorry, it's a little too late, but no, thank you for that, Commissioner.
With Quincy Jones, the legendary Quincy Jones just passing, this is as good of a time of any to replay The Wiz. So
that's a good point. It's been a while since I've seen The Wiz. Thank you for that, Commissioner Coles. I appreciate you. Commissioner Dupree Wilson, I see your hand.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, there's nothing I can say without getting in trouble. So I'll just say this. When you go to the polls tomorrow, if you haven't voted yet, remember that you're not just voting for you. You're voting for your babies. You're voting for your neighbors. And also, again, I really hope that this election cycle will put an end to selective outrage and also will promote allyship. And the reason why I say that is because you shouldn't have to wait for a certain someone to get to your group or your community before you are offended by their words. I'm not Haitian, but I don't have to wait for people to come from. I'm offended by what was said by Haitians. You know, I'm not going to wait for someone to personally offend me before I decide to wake up. So I say that to say, if your group has not yet been offended by someone's rhetoric or someone who is affiliated with that person's rhetoric, it's only a matter of time before it happens. And that is as apolitical as I can be without getting in trouble. And also shout out to Quincy Jones. I think I've watched the Emerald City sequence maybe 3 times this morning from The Wiz. And of course, I love Red. That's my favorite part of that scene.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Commissioner Dupree Wilson. Yeah, I think we know what needs to be done. And I thank you all for engaging in the process. And if you haven't, make sure you do. You got till 8 o'clock tomorrow. All right. So we're going to move on so that none of us get in trouble. We're going to move on to public comments. Yes. Oh, okay. We're just going to go with the, okay, Quincy Jones references. I appreciate that. Okay. Get them in as best you can. So to public comments, to members of the public, thank you for being here. Thank you as well for your flexibility with our schedule change. If you want to introduce yourself, just give your affiliation. You can do so in the chat. And again, just thank you for, again, being with us today and being a part of this journey. You see how necessary and important it is. And much gratitude for that. Commissioner Coles, I see your hand.
Hi, I just wanted to take a moment to introduce a new intern who's joined us, Kayla Edwards Scott. If you want to say hi really quickly, Kayla, but she's a law student at Howard Law, and so we're grateful to have her assistance on the commission.
Hi, everybody. I'm so sorry I can't be on camera. I'm like traveling to do some voter protection work in Alabama tomorrow. So I'm so glad to be with you all today. I'm really excited to join the commission in spring 2025 and support as an intern.
Thank you, Kayla.
Chair, I would also like to give Brianna the opportunity to introduce herself. She is joining us by way of buoy and will be our note taker. Brianna, if you would like to come off mute and introduce yourself.
Good morning, everyone. I'm not sure if you can hear me. I'm in the office with someone else having a meeting, so my apologies if I'm a little low.
Thank you both for joining us. Thank you for being a part of this journey. We are grateful and look forward to everything that we will do now and in the future. So to our other members of the public, again, thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. We will move on to committee reports. I know that Commissioner Armenti is a little tied up at the moment, so he has asked us to table the research committee updates unless somebody is willing to provide those updates in his place. Otherwise, I'll ask our other committee chairs. I believe Commissioner Millen is the only one that is on right now. So we can focus on logistics because that will be the main basis of today's meeting anyway. So Commissioner Millen, if there's any immediate updates you want to provide, and then we can certainly transition to our past hearing as well as our upcoming hearing in next week, next Saturday.
Perfect. Yep, that was going to be my plan. So the logistics committee met last on October 21st. The conversation centered on the debriefing from at that point the most recent hearing, and that's in order to provide continued improvement or evolution of future hearings. Two big topics came out of that conversation, and that was marketing and communication. I would say communication before, during, and after the hearing. So with that, I'm going to jump into marketing. I wanted to publicly acknowledge Commissioner Baker for stepping up and into the space of sort of a marketing distributor. She's called upon some of our staff to send out press releases to all of our media folks that we've generated and identified in each of the counties or regions, as well as across the state and even across state lines. For example, the Hartford and Cecil County hearing, there was a reporter from WDEL who interviewed Chair Fakunle in advance of that hearing. We also had a photojournalist student from Bowie State University come to that hearing, as well as the journalist and photojournalist from the Washington Post. All of those, well, I don't know about Bowie State, but the other two, WDEL, produced a report, and I'm assuming it also aired online. And then the Washington Post submitted a report or news article specifically about the Hartford-Cecil County hearing, and then did a follow-up just, I think it was 2 days ago, on a larger topic, and used the hearing as an example, or used a part of the hearing as an example. That journalist is Petula Dvorak. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing her last name. Apologies. She appears quite interested, recognizes that the Hartford and Cecil County hearing was not just a one-off moment in time. And she is now, like, her eyes are wide open. I think she's sort of going to be tracking our work through towards to the end. So we may see her circle back through some of the upcoming hearings. All of this really is because Commissioner Baker did step up and got these press releases out in a very timely manner. Further, in advance of the hearing, she's also created flyers. So as you're hearing, if you're a liaison for an upcoming hearing, those flyers are being created and are, we can keep adjusting them as we need to. I also want to give a shout out to Emily Squires, Hannah Lane, Chris Haley, and the Maryland State Archives, because they've been distributing or emailing personalized letters and emails to curated lists for the hearings. And we saw that as effective in Hartford and Cecil County. I think they've been busy with the upcoming St. Mary's Calvert Charles County regional hearing, and it is a lot of work. Some of these counties and regions are producing, 50 at least names, and truly each person is getting their own email. It's not a bulk email. So I want to thank Maryland State Archives for gifting time towards that effort as well. And again, it's paying off. To that end, with marketing, the commissioners, we really need each of you to also lean into this and use your personal and professional networks. Commissioner Parker, I think you got some background in your noise background on your end. Thank you. So the commissioners can use personal and professional networks to forward these flyers, the press releases. We also have sort of social media toolkit. So you can just sort of copy and paste, and we're updating those and trying to get those out in advance as well. Living and growing. We've heard back from a couple of the hearings and in our debriefs with the logistic committees that folks want Living and Growing to be a little bit more present. So in the last hearing, we made a point of not just introducing them at the beginning and the end, but again, going into the break. And then also listening more carefully to what specific regions or counties want, sort of custom relationship with Living and Growing. A good example is the January hearing for Prince George's County, or being intentional about setting up an after hearing group debrief with Living and Growing, and really establishing that before the hearing even occurs. I also want to say that I think our Maryland State Police, they have also sort of stepped up. That relationship has definitely improved, and I think they are interested. The officers that have been coming seem to be really interested and are listening to the hearing as well. So I think that's a benefit both directions, both for us and our speakers, our folks testifying, as well as for them to take back to their colleagues. Going back to communication, and I'm sure that Trish could speak to this, and any commissioner liaison who's in the midst of a hearing planning. There are so many changes and adjustments that are occurring. We're working on an internal script based off of the run of show, and even the night before, the morning of, changes are being made. Even in the middle of a hearing, changes are being made. So I just want to appreciate, again, the flexibility of our local partners on that. Folks who are testifying, our venue hosts. It's a lot to juggle, and we think we get it down, and then there's a little curveball that's thrown right at us. And so we're working on the fly, and it really is taking sort of everybody who's present to keep it going. I can keep going and shift a little bit into Hartford and Cecil County's hearing from October 26th, I believe it was. One thing that I found that I thought was really special is that the group were interested in holding a debrief meeting the Monday after the hearing. And for those hearings that are coming up, and again, if you're a commissioner liaison, I think that was a really good decision. It was super casual, in some ways, people just chatting and being together after this intense planning and the intensity of the hearing. But again, just getting little tidbits that I can use and pass forward to upcoming hearings. And I think one of the big takeaways I heard from them is that they really wish there had been a larger crowd. And Hartford and Cecil County was caught in the transition from one marketing firm to Commissioner Baker picking it up. But again, it's everybody should be participating in that. We also, for Hartford and Cecil County, received new research literally 24 hours before the hearing took place. And it was probably 30-some pages of research. So obviously that information was not, did not have time to get through the information. And I'm sure Commissioner Armenti could speak more to that. So we gave an acknowledgement to that the research had been received and would be, reviewed carefully and thoughtfully. And I think it's a good example of how the hearings are a moment in time. And it's not the end of the work. So upcoming hearings, November 16th, a week and a half or so, is the hearing in St. Mary's in Leonardtown, in St. Mary's County, along with Calvert and Charles County. We are working out some of the logistical details, specifically finalizing our live stream and venue coordination, and sort of adjusting the run of show based on some time constraints. And then from that, I'll be working on the internal run of show for our chair. Just as a reminder, I don't think we need to go into details. December 7th is Kent, Caroline, and Queen Anne's counties at Menary's Dream Alliance in Chestertown. January 11th is a Howard County hearing. This is a newer scheduled date. The location is to be determined. January 25th is Prince George's County at Bowie State University in the Student Center. February 1st is Carroll County at a location to be determined. And then February 8th is the Institutional and Reconciliation hearing, and that will likely be held in Baltimore City or Annapolis. So to wind up, commissioner engagement is super important as we get through the next several months. It's a lot and it's intense, but our local partners are looking to see us as commissioners physically present at these hearings. They really want to see us there. They're asking about it. Community members are asking, who are the commissioners? Where are they? So we would ask that you plan to attend in person as much as possible. And again, to market, to spread the word and raise awareness. And our next logistics meeting is November 18th at 3 o'clock. That was a lot. Maybe I got to a point where maybe David Armenti could give his report. So I was trying to be as robust as possible. Any questions or additional feedback?
I'll just second the gratitude for all the work that's being done. Certainly, Commissioner Millen, for your leadership with all this, Trish as well, and many others. I know there's many more by name. I'll also just reinforce the participation and the engagement. Now more than ever, that is very critical. I understand that we all have, again, our various obligations. Admittedly, I won't be able to attend the November 16th. I'm not happy about that one, but I have a conference that I got to go to. So we understand that stuff happens. The main thing is that you let us know so that there isn't any concern or worry. And as much as flexibility can be exude flexibility. So that means if you can come in person, great. That's the ideal scenario. If you cannot attend in person, then attend virtually. We have discussed with the event stream team whether to make it accessible to commissioners to speak during the hearing. That would be great if there are enough commissioners to justify it, because obviously that's going to be an additional cost, but the capabilities are there. So that's another reason why communication is important. If we have commissioners that want to speak, to share their insight during the hearings, we can make that happen. We just got to make sure that we have the numbers to justify it. And again, share this with your networks. I'll reinforce that as well. I look forward to when Commissioner Baker posts on LinkedIn, so I can just go ahead and reshare with my 2 cents. Whatever works, works. But we are seeing the fruits of the labor show up. We are seeing the attention that is being paid to the work we're doing. We know we've been doing this for a while. We had that initial rush of interest. It kind of faded off, and now it's kind of rising again. So let's take advantage of the awareness that people are having about the work that we're doing and bring more attention to our purposes. Commissioner Barnes, I see you in. Commissioner Barnes?
Sorry, had it.
No worries.
Yes, I also wanted to express gratitude for Commissioner Armenti for his research leadership and making sure we have as much as we possibly can for the hearings, and Commissioner Millen for her leadership in the logistics, just really making sure we're all prepared and ready and have as much as possible. It was unfortunate, the whole marketing and promotion and PR thing was dropped, and ran into the snafus, but nonetheless, it still was a strong hearing and emotional, and as it should be. And everyone's participation made a difference. So thank you for anyone who was able to come, able to watch or participate or promote it. Thank you so much for that in the Hartford and Cecil County hearing.
No, thank you for that, Commissioner Barnes. Appreciate you. Commissioner Coles, I see you in.
Hi, thank you for all of those updates. I was wondering, I haven't noticed, do we have anywhere on our flyers or in our information, do we put out there if anyone needs reasonable accommodations, how to notify us? And the thought just came through my mind about, if someone needs a sign language interpreter, and I don't think we've encountered that issue, but I was just wondering if we put that out there for people to let us know.
Yeah, every hearing actually has ASL interpreters present regardless, and every venue is supposed to be accessible. So, if it's on the second floor, there has to be an elevator. So that's part of the venue identification. So absolutely.
Okay.
And parking, easy parking.
And so your committee, you guys have been handling arranging the ASL piece?
That Trish is doing all of that.
Trish has been doing that. Got it.
Yep.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't aware. And then when you mentioned incorporating, it was hearing and learning,
Living and growing.
Living and growing. How they're not in my agenda. Is there a way I'm supposed to be incorporating them? Okay.
No, that's so it might be a little known secret, but there is an internal script for commissioners who will be speaking, so that we are following a pretty detailed there's things that need to be said because it is a state commission, so we want to make sure we get those words right, etc. And embedded in that is an introduction to the the trauma-informed counselors to stand up and identify themselves and identify the room to which they will be able to provide a little more private services. So yeah, all of that is within the timeframes that are already identified in the run of show. In part, that's why that first 20 minutes is a little bit robust.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. And one thing I just kind of wanted to flag, I don't know if we're like here yet, but I kind of wonder if we might need a little bit more time before the reconciliation hearing, because we have had challenges finding our location, and so we haven't gotten the invites out. And so, maybe we won't need that additional time, but I just kind of wanted to flag that in case that date needs to move back to later in February or possibly early March.
Yeah. I think it's something to discuss in the reconciliation meeting
committee.
that I think has been rescheduled for this Friday, if I'm correct. That for sure, that's something to. Thank you, Emily. Thank you to. I think that's something to discuss. The concern is that if we push it too late, that information is going to be really important in terms of the report writing, and that could delay the report writing. And we want to be sensitive to that as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
No.
And Commissioner Creary has since he's not here, he has reached out to at least 3 venues. We've heard back from 2. One is checking, one we have something maybe in conversation, and one was not available. So I do feel like, maybe we'll have something this Friday that we could then proceed with.
And the updated reconciliation meeting is this Friday at 3:30.
Were you about to say something, Chair?
Yeah, but I forgot what it was. I don't think it was that important. Oh, I was thinking, okay, I got it. So I know that we have it currently scheduled for February 8th is the institutional hearing. I think realistically, we want to go past February. So that would leave us with 2 more Saturdays, the 15th and the 22nd. So just as a FYI. But the one thing I'll say is, just kind of be honest with us about where things are when it comes to not just the logistics, but the crafting of this particular hearing. We do want it to be as robust as possible with the timeline that we have. So we'll strike that balance as much as we can. But I think at this point, just kind of give us an honest assessment of what that progress looks like. And, that can certainly happen in Friday's meeting.
Yeah,
Okay.
And I don't think the 15th of February is a realistic option because that's President's Day weekend.
Sure.
And so, it's really tight in terms of the available days.
Yeah. And one last request, this could be later in the meeting, but I know a lot of you guys attended the Maryland Lynching Memorial Project conference this week. If it would be possible for anyone just to kind of provide like a high level synopsis, if anything came out of it that's relevant to our work, I would love to hear it.
No, that sounds good. No, we can definitely do that at the end.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Commissioner Haley, I see your hand.
Thank you. I guess a couple of things. One thing, as far as when we have our overall our individual conference about reconciliation, I was thinking that it might be interesting as far as what do we do, what's the flow? Because the first event we had was virtual, and we had the 4 different aspects of what we were approaching within this commission, and that was the newspaper approach, which we had then Commissioner Deneen Brown handle, and then reconciliation, which was Commissioner Creary. We had Commissioner Snowden, I think, act as MC, and you made a statement, Chair Fukunle, and I think that might be one to look at because that was, I think, doing just at the beginning of the pandemic, because I feel like that's one reason why it was virtual, and that might be something we can look at 4 or 5 years later that's what we were looking at, and where have we come? Where have we gone? Just to sort of reflect, and quite frankly, also remind people that there is progress from where we began and where we are today, because we were doing something back at the beginning, and we had maintained some level of vital, vibrant, active thought about what we were going to do and what we proposed to do, and what we now have done. And frankly, thanks especially to Commissioner Millen, we are forging straight ahead to do that. And also, I wanted to commend Commissioner Barnes on her statements at the last hearing, Hartford Cecil. I felt channeled in some sense with some of the things you were saying about what one should think is necessary, and being, is it wrong to think these things? I was really felt very impressed and sort of empowered as I watched that virtually from my home. So I just wanted to impart those thoughts as we move forward to more hearings going forward. Thanks.
Much appreciation for your insight, Commissioner Haley. Any other thoughts at this time? All right, hearing none, seeing none. So that essentially was the reflection on the hearing in Hartford Cecil County. So we just moved right on into that, which is cool. I'm all good with it. Commissioner Millen, I'll go back to you if there's any other things that you want to share about the preparations for the next hearing that's happening on November 16th, and that's for St. Mary's, Calvert, and Charles counties.
Yeah. Again, it's November 16th, starts at 9 a.m. It'll be held at the Leonardtown Library in Leonardtown.
It starts at 10 a.m.
Pardon me, Trish?
It starts at 10 a.m., not 9 a.m.
I was going to say 9. I'm sorry. I was seeing 10 in my brain. So 10 a.m. It will run until approximately 1:30. And just like we just reviewed, the Maryland State Police will be have a presence. It's a quiet presence. The event stream team will be there to record and live stream. American Sign Language interpreters will be there. Living and growing trauma-informed therapists. And our local partners are really have done a lot of good reflective work. And I think that's really it from the logistics standpoint. Michelle, Commissioner Coles, I'm not sure if you want to add anything since you're the commissioner liaison.
I can't think of anything that you missed. I think you encapsulated it well. Thank you.
I think I'll add one thing that St. Mary's and Calvert are the two counties that have known and identified lynchings that will be the focus of this hearing. Charles County has no known lynchings, but these three counties have worked in partnership and had intentional conversations over time, which is why the decision was made to include Charles counties as part of this specific regional hearing. And again, I think it's a demonstration of the collaboration and, maybe that healing process, being in conversation, and recognizing that this was not defined by county borders. People travel back and forth, they know each other. Some of the conversations and the planning have been about the waterways down in that part, and the role of the waterways and the watermen in this history. So that's not a logistical thing. That's just me sitting in on some of these planning meetings and thinking about the dynamic relationships. So,
I
Michelle.
did want to I just thought of one thing. Trish has connected me to a couple of reporters that were interested in covering our hearing. And so I did do a couple of interviews, one with the Intersection magazine or newspaper, and another with something called Southern Maryland News newspaper. And so they both were very interested and are planning to cover what we're doing in advance of the hearing.
And I did have my hand raised. I was just getting ready to uplift that. Yes, Commissioner Coles has had 2 interviews leading up to the hearing.
I think that's everything for the November hearing.
Okay, cool. Thank you all. I'm glad to hear about the interviews. I'm glad that other commissioners are willing to take interviews as much as I love to talk. I'm not always available, so I'm glad that there are other perspectives on this work that are being shared, and ultimately just bringing more attention to what we're doing, and that the media are interested in us. So much gratitude to you all for that. Any questions? Any thoughts about the upcoming hearing?
I just wanted to add, I love the quotes from Dr. Barnes in the Washington Post interviews. So great job there, Commissioner Barnes.
Thank you. What was which was the quote?
I'd have to pull it up, but you put us in a good light.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I gotta go back and listen to what I said.
Commissioner Barnes, I'm the same way. When people say, "Oh, I love what you do," I'm like, "What did I say?" But nevertheless, again, I'm not surprised, of course, and just always grateful that when we have these platforms to share this truth, we bring it, right? We bring it with the weight that it deserves. And thank you, Emily. The article was just put in the chat. If anybody wants to check it out, I'm sure you get at least like 1 or 2 free viewings of articles if you don't subscribe to the Washington Post, which I know has changed a little bit. But nevertheless, yeah, you get 1 free one. Okay, I just checked. All right. So then check that out. Again, it's still a good look.
Chair, don't get in trouble.
I'm so close.
I'm wondering if somebody who has access can like copy and paste it and put it in like a PDF for us.
PDF?
Yeah, just so we can post on our site all the coverage from this.
Yeah. Well, I certainly hope
Or
that we can
screenshot.
Yeah, so I certainly hope that we can put it on the commission website. Absolutely. And yeah, okay, perfect. It's going to be on the commission website, and I'm sure we can make it accessible so that people can read the whole thing. Commissioner Coles, I see your hand.
And I was just going to request, if when we do get press, if maybe someone can circulate it amongst the commissioners. I happened to see it in LinkedIn, but I wasn't aware of it. And our intern Kayla, she said that's actually how she found out about us, is from the Washington Post article, and I went to seek us out. But if there was a way we could like circulate that, I think it'll just help us promote it.
Absolutely. And we can definitely do a much better job of that as the press rolls around. So yes, let's keep ourselves informed of, again, all the platforms that we're getting to utilize to tell this story. Very much appreciated. And it makes a difference. That's why Kayla's here. So it's making a difference. So we definitely want to continue to explore all those opportunities. Any other questions, thoughts related to? Yes.
I just want to lift up that Commissioner Stephanie has just hopped, so we have lost quorum.
Okay. So tee up. All right. Let's see. Okay, so let's give it a minute or two just to see if she comes back. Hopefully it's a connection issue, not a I gotta go issue. And then let me see. So yeah, let's just give it a few minutes real quick. And then if she does not pop back, then I may have to send over a quick message.
We need 9 for a quorum. 10.
We need 10.
50% plus 1.
Okay.
So we are working to hopefully get back to quorum. Worst case scenario, even if we have to end here, we did get through the majority of the meeting. So with quorum, so we're good. We're, even if it means we have to make this abrupt end. So I will say, all things considered, I'm grateful for that. So what we will do is, let me see. So I believe Trish said that Commissioner Seward had a 12:30 obligation. And I'm just gonna count here. I think we're right under. Okay. So I think what we'll do is, we don't have quorum. We'll end here. We got through everything. The most important stuff, I'll say we got through. What we can do is still definitely would like a kind of feedback on the Maryland Lynching Memorial Project conference to commissioners that did go. So we'll table that to our next meeting, as well as the exhibit. So shout out to those commissioners that did go to the exhibit opening last week. Great to see you all in person. So we'll table that discussion for our next meeting. Again, everyone has gotten the feedback on the past hearing, updates on the preparation for the next hearing. So please, as much as possible, go to the various committee meetings as you can, just to be informed, remain engaged with your regions. And if you aren't engaged with a region right now because the hearing is passed, please feel free to lend your energy to the upcoming hearings that we do have on the schedule. That would be greatly, greatly, greatly appreciated. Continue to spread the word. And with this, I will end. Vote, 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 vote. For the love of all that is holy, vote. Okay? All right. We done. Thank you all. Appreciate you. Be safe. Again, we'll stay updated through email and talk to you when I talk to you. Peace.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Yep.
Have a good afternoon.